From the moment Hermann Göring, Luftwaffe commander and proud architect of Germany's air ambitions, scoffed at America's plan to build 50,000 planes, claiming such numbers were impossible for a democratic nation lacking the discipline and industrial genius of the Reich, the tension immediately grips the viewer, because behind Göring's laughter lay the dangerous assumption that the United States could never match German speed, quality, or efficiency in aircraft production. Yet unbeknownst to him, American factories were quietly transforming into industrial behemoths. Massive shipyards, airfields, and assembly plants humming with relentless precision. Thousands of men and women moving like clockwork, rivets flying, engines roaring, wings being assembled before hulls were complete. And the suspense escalates as the narrator explains that each plane produced was more than just a machine. It was a statement of industrial will, a strategic multiplier capable of projecting power across oceans. And as the camera pans over these enormous facilities, viewers are plunged into the awe-inspiring scale of wartime mobilization, where every rivet, bolt, and engine installation mattered, every delay or misstep potentially altering the course of battles yet to come. And the cinematic tension is heightened by juxtaposing the slow, limited, but precise German production of high-quality aircraft against the American philosophy of speed, modular assembly, and mass production, revealing a silent, escalating industrial race that Göring had not foreseen, and the narrative drives home that this was not just a contest of numbers, but of human ingenuity, logistical brilliance, and national determination. Because America's ability to produce planes at unprecedented speed and scale would turn ridicule into triumph, and as the camera sweeps across assembly lines glowing with welding sparks, cranes moving massive fuselages into place, engines being tested before even being mounted, and hundreds of aircraft being loaded simultaneously onto runways and carriers, viewers feel the suspense intensify, knowing that each plane rolling out of a factory represented a step closer to a staggering total that would eventually double Göring's mocked prediction, and the narration promises that subsequent points will reveal the astounding human stories, engineering ingenuity, and strategic audacity behind the creation of 100,000 planes, leaving viewers riveted as they follow the unfolding drama of industrial warfare, national ambition, and the relentless determination that turned laughter into astonishment, setting the stage for an epic narrative that will shock, mesmerize, and hold audiences spellbound from start to finish. As the American factories roared to life, the tension of wartime ambition became almost tangible, with massive assembly lines stretching as far as the eye could see, cranes moving fuselages like titans across enormous hangars, and thousands of riveters, welders, machinists, and engineers working in a synchronized rhythm that seemed almost superhuman. And the suspense intensifies as the narrative plunges viewers into the scale and complexity of the operation. Wings being built in one location, engines in another, fuselages welded together and then moved by immense gantries into final assembly, all while teams of pilots and mechanics trained in adjacent airfields to immediately take the machines from factory floor to operational status. And the contrast with German production becomes immediately striking, where Germany relied on highly skilled artisans producing planes slowly but with meticulous craftsmanship. America leveraged mass production, standardized components, modular design, and relentless scheduling, allowing them to build planes faster than the Luftwaffe could even count them. And the cinematic imagery sweeps across American airfields as dozens of planes roar down runways, engines vibrating, wings gleaming, crews signaling takeoff, while the narration emphasizes that every plane represented not only industrial achievement but strategic potential, a tool capable of projecting power across oceans, altering battles, and supporting land and naval operations with devastating effect. And the suspense grows as viewers understand that this was not merely a race of numbers, but a contest of innovation, coordination, and national determination, because each aircraft that left a factory was a blow to German expectations, a step closer to turning Göring's mocking laughter into astonished disbelief. And the narration delves into the human element, revealing the tireless work of men and women in shifts around the clock. Welding arcs illuminating night skies, rivets hammered in hypnotic rhythm, engines tested and installed with precision, wings balanced and aligned, and planes being moved from assembly to airfield in a continuous, unstoppable flow, creating an overwhelming sense of scale and suspense. As the audience realizes that these efforts were not isolated, they were part of a carefully orchestrated national plan to achieve industrial supremacy in the air. And the camera cuts to German command, showing planners and engineers who begin to sense the threat. Their calculations faltering as American output accelerates. But despite any alarm, the factories keep humming, producing hundreds of planes weekly, then thousands monthly, building toward the impossible total of 100,000 aircraft. And the narrative foreshadows that the following points will uncover even deeper secrets of production innovation, strategic deployment, and human endurance, keeping viewers riveted, awestruck, and fully immersed in the unfolding story of America's industrial miracle that transformed mockery into dominance. As the factories stretched across the American landscape, from coastal shipyards to inland airfields, the scale of production became almost overwhelming. With hangars so large they could fit dozens of aircraft under a single roof, cranes moving fuselages weighing tons, welding arcs illuminating the night like rivers of fire, and teams of men and women working in relentless synchronization. And the suspense intensifies as the narrator explains that this was not merely industrial effort, but a feat of national coordination, where every engineer, machinist, welder, and pilot contributed to a single unstoppable objective: building planes faster than any adversary could imagine or counter. And as viewers are swept across assembly lines, they see wings being pre-assembled while fuselages are welded in another section, engines tested and installed in modular fashion, and completed aircraft being moved seamlessly to airfields for immediate operational readiness, creating a hypnotic rhythm of production. And the contrast with German methods becomes stark. Germany's 6 planes built over a span of months represented skill, craftsmanship, and careful calculation, whereas America's factories operated with a scale and tempo that defied imagination, producing hundreds of planes weekly, thousands monthly, and ultimately an astonishing total that would double Göring's mocked 50,000 plane goal. And the cinematic imagery escalates suspense by juxtaposing American planes roaring down runways, engines vibrating, wings gleaming in the sun, pilots giving signals for takeoff, and crews performing final checks, against German engineers watching reports with growing disbelief, unable to match the tempo or the scale. And the narrative draws viewers further into the human and strategic dimensions of this industrial miracle, emphasizing that each aircraft was more than steel and fuel. It was a strategic multiplier capable of altering battles, supporting invasions, protecting convoys, and dominating skies across Europe and the Pacific, while the suspense is intensified by the knowledge that every rivet hammered, every wing aligned, every engine tested, contributed to a cumulative force so massive that Germany's military planners could only respond reactively. And as the camera sweeps across the factories and airfields, showing workers laboring tirelessly under nightlights, sparks flying, engines roaring, and planes taking off into an endless sky, the audience is left with an almost tangible sense of awe, tension, and anticipation, understanding that this was not just industrial output but a weapon, a demonstration of national resolve and ingenuity. And the narration promises that subsequent points will uncover even more shocking insights into the logistics, human ingenuity, and audacity behind the creation of 100,000 planes, leaving viewers riveted, fully engaged, and on the edge of their seats as the story unfolds toward its epic climax. As the American industrial machine thundered forward, the scale of coordination, ingenuity, and relentless effort became almost incomprehensible. Massive hangars stretching for blocks, assembly lines weaving through factories like arteries pumping steel and fuel, cranes lifting fuselages weighing tens of tons into place, and riveters, welders, machinists, and engineers moving in perfect synchrony, their work illuminated by the sparks of welding arcs that lit the night sky like fireworks. And the suspense tightens as viewers are drawn into the immense human orchestration, because every plane produced, tested, and flown represented not only industrial achievement but strategic supremacy, a force multiplier capable of changing the outcome of battles, protecting supply lines, and projecting American power across continents and oceans. And the contrast with German production becomes even more striking, as Göring's 6 planes built over months could not match the tempo, scale, or operational flexibility of America's factories producing thousands of planes each year. And the narrative heightens suspense by detailing the technological and logistical brilliance behind the effort. Modular construction allowed wings, fuselages, and engines to be built simultaneously in different locations and then seamlessly joined. Engines were tested before installation, flight decks and airfields prepped to receive aircraft the moment they rolled off the assembly line. And the human element added another layer of awe. With men and women working around the clock, arcs of light from welding arcs illuminating faces determined by purpose, engines roaring into place, rivets hammered in hypnotic rhythm, and planes moving from assembly to airfield in a continuous, unstoppable flow, creating an overwhelming sense of scale, suspense, and inevitability. While the camera juxtaposes these scenes against German planners, who watch reports of American output with disbelief, realizing their calculations and assumptions were catastrophically wrong. And the narration emphasizes that this was not just a story of numbers, but of human will, engineering ingenuity, and national determination. Because each plane leaving the factory added to an unstoppable total of 100,000 aircraft, doubling Göring's mocked prediction and setting the stage for a strategic revolution in the skies, leaving viewers breathless, riveted, and fully immersed in the epic story of America's industrial miracle. As the narrative promises that the following points will reveal even more shocking secrets of production, deployment, and strategic dominance that ultimately reshaped the course of World War II, keeping audiences on the edge of their seats in awe of what human ambition and coordination can achieve. As the American factories roared day and night, the scale of production became almost unfathomable, with immense assembly lines stretching for miles, cranes moving fuselages weighing tons into place, welding arcs tracing intricate patterns across massive steel frames, and thousands of riveters, machinists, engineers, and laborers working in perfect synchrony, their efforts creating a hypnotic rhythm of industrial precision. And the suspense builds as viewers are transported into the heart of this human and mechanical orchestra. Because every plane produced represented far more than metal and fuel. It was a strategic multiplier, capable of controlling skies, defending supply lines, and reshaping entire battles before they even began. And the contrast with German production could not be starker. While Göring's 6 planes over months represented careful, meticulous craftsmanship, America's modular, mass production approach allowed wings, fuselages, and engines to be constructed in parallel and combined seamlessly, enabling hundreds of planes to roll off assembly lines weekly, thousands monthly, each aircraft a testament to ingenuity, industrial coordination, and national resolve. And the cinematic imagery escalates suspense as viewers witness dozens of aircraft roaring down runways, engines vibrating, wings glinting under the sun, pilots signaling for takeoff, crews checking every detail while across the ocean. German planners watch reports with mounting disbelief, realizing that the assumptions and mockery of 50,000 planes were laughably insufficient to grasp the scale of what America was achieving. And the narration deepens suspense by revealing the human stories behind the machines. Men and women working endless shifts, welding sparks illuminating determined faces, rivets hammered in hypnotic rhythm, engines hoisted and aligned with painstaking care, and aircraft moving seamlessly from assembly to operational readiness, forming a relentless, unstoppable flow, a living testament to American ingenuity and endurance. While the narrative emphasizes that these planes were more than steel, they were the embodiment of strategy, mobility, and psychological power, because each aircraft increased reach, allowed for more strikes, and gave commanders flexibility that Germany could never hope to match. And as the camera sweeps over endless factories, airfields, and launch-ready decks, viewers feel the overwhelming scale, suspense, and inevitability of the industrial effort, understanding that this was not merely production, but an unstoppable force that would ultimately double Göring's mocked prediction, reaching 100,000 planes And the narration foreshadows that subsequent points will reveal even deeper secrets of training, deployment, and the operational strategies that allowed America to translate industrial output into battlefield dominance, leaving viewers mesmerized, breathless, and fully engaged in the epic story of the United States' unprecedented wartime achievement. As the relentless roar of American factories continued, the scale of coordination, innovation, and human endurance reached levels that defied imagination. With massive hangars stretching for blocks, assembly lines weaving through industrial complexes like rivers of steel and energy, cranes lifting fuselages and wings that weighed tens of tons into place with the precision of a symphony, and thousands of engineers, machinists, welders, and laborers working in perfect unison. Each rivet hammered, every bolt tightened, each engine tested before installation, forming a hypnotic rhythm that propelled planes from raw steel to operational machines faster than the world had ever seen. And the suspense intensifies as viewers are taken into the heart of this immense machine, because each aircraft was not just a weapon, but a strategic multiplier capable of projecting American power across continents and oceans, protecting supply lines, supporting ground invasions, and dominating airspace. While across the Atlantic and Europe, German commanders, including Göring himself, watched in disbelief as the numbers mounted, realizing their mockery of 50,000 planes had underestimated not only American industrial capacity, but the ingenuity, determination, and coordination that allowed production to accelerate. And the cinematic imagery heightens tension with scenes of sparks flying from welding arcs illuminating night skies, cranes swinging massive fuselages into place, engines roaring as they are tested, and rows of planes rolling onto airfields ready to take flight, pilots and crews moving in coordinated rhythm. And the narrative emphasizes that this was not merely a story of quantity, but of ingenuity, logistics, and human perseverance, as modular assembly, parallel construction, standardized components, and careful scheduling enabled thousands of planes to be completed and deployed while German factories struggled to keep pace. And the suspense deepens further as the narration explores the human stories behind the machines. Men and women working around the clock, welding sparks tracing glowing arcs over focused faces, rivets flying in hypnotic rhythm, engines hoisted and aligned with precision, planes moving seamlessly from assembly to airfields, a continuous flow of industrial might, creating a sense of inevitability. And the narrative underscores that each plane added not only to the numerical advantage, but also to strategic dominance, allowing America to control skies, protect naval convoys, and support ground operations across multiple theaters, leaving German commanders constantly reacting rather than acting. And as the camera sweeps across endless factories, airfields, and launch-ready decks, viewers feel the awe-inspiring scale, suspense, and unstoppable momentum, understanding that this was not just production, but the creation of a force so vast and relentless that it ultimately doubled Göring's mocked prediction, achieving 100,000 planes. And the narration foreshadows that subsequent points will reveal the even deeper stories of training, deployment, innovation, and strategy that transformed industrial output into complete battlefield supremacy, keeping audiences spellbound, riveted, and fully immersed in this epic story of American ingenuity, endurance, and triumph. As the American industrial juggernaut pressed forward, the scope of human and mechanical coordination reached almost mythic proportions, with colossal hangars stretching as far as the eye could see, assembly lines threading through them like arteries pumping steel and fuel, cranes swinging fuselages and wings weighing tens of tons into place with terrifying precision, and thousands of engineers, machinists, welders, and laborers operating in near-perfect unison, their actions synchronized as if guided by a single unstoppable force. And the suspense escalates as viewers are drawn into this vast, living machine of production, because every plane assembled, every engine tested, every rivet hammered was not simply a product, but a weapon, a strategic multiplier capable of changing battles, protecting supply lines, supporting invasions, and projecting American power across the globe. While German commanders, including Göring, watched reports with mounting disbelief, realizing that their ridicule of America's 50,000 plane goal had underestimated not only the industrial capacity of a democracy, but also its ingenuity, coordination, and resolve, and the narrative heightens tension by describing the intricate choreography of production. Wings pre-assembled in one section, fuselages welded in another, engines tested and installed modularly, flight decks prepped to receive aircraft the moment they rolled off the line, and completed planes moved seamlessly to airfields where pilots and crews performed final checks, creating a hypnotic rhythm of unstoppable momentum. And the human element adds awe-inspiring depth, with men and women laboring around the clock, welding sparks tracing glowing arcs across determined faces, rivets flying in hypnotic sequence, engines hoisted into place, and aircraft being deployed in continuous waves, while the cinematic lens alternates between bustling factories, sunlit airfields, and roaring aircraft taking flight, emphasizing the scale, speed, and inevitability of American production. And the narrative underscores that this was not merely about numbers, but about operational dominance, psychological advantage, and strategic flexibility. Because each aircraft added to a growing force that allowed America to dictate the pace of battle, control skies, and support multiple theaters simultaneously, leaving Germany perpetually on the defensive. And as the camera sweeps over endless rows of planes ready for deployment, the audience feels the overwhelming scale, suspense, and unstoppable energy of this industrial miracle, understanding that America was not just building planes, but creating an unstoppable force, ultimately achieving 100,000 aircraft, doubling Göring's mocked prediction, and foreshadowing that subsequent points will reveal the deeper, shocking stories of training, deployment, innovation, and strategy that transformed these planes into the ultimate instruments of victory, leaving viewers spellbound, riveted, and fully immersed in the epic saga of American ingenuity, endurance, and triumph. As the relentless machinery of American industry thundered forward, the scale of effort and precision became almost incomprehensible, with enormous hangars housing multiple assembly lines, cranes lifting massive fuselages into place, welding arcs illuminating entire buildings like rivers of fire, and thousands of engineers, machinists, welders, and laborers moving in perfect synchronization, each action a calculated part of an unstoppable rhythm. And the suspense intensifies as viewers are drawn deep into the heart of this industrial symphony, because every plane produced, tested, and deployed was more than metal and fuel. It was a strategic multiplier capable of dominating airspace, supporting ground and naval operations, protecting supply lines, and changing the outcome of battles before they even began, while across Europe, German planners, including Göring himself, watched reports with disbelief, realizing that their mockery of America's 50,000 plane goal was catastrophically underestimated. And the narrative heightens tension by detailing the ingenuity behind the production system. Modular construction allowed wings, fuselages, and engines to be fabricated in separate locations simultaneously and then assembled seamlessly. Engines were rigorously tested before installation. Flight decks and airfields prepared to receive aircraft immediately upon completion, and pilots trained in parallel to ensure operational readiness, creating a hypnotic, unstoppable flow of aircraft. And the human element adds awe-inspiring depth as men and women work in ceaseless shifts, arcs of welding sparks lighting determined faces, rivets hammered in a rhythmic cadence, engines hoisted and aligned with exacting precision, planes moving from assembly to airfield in a continuous, relentless cycle, producing an overwhelming sense of scale, suspense, and inevitability, while the narrative emphasizes that these planes were more than machines. They were instruments of strategic dominance, psychological warfare, and operational flexibility, allowing America to dictate the tempo of battle, extend reach across oceans, and leave Germany constantly reacting, unable to match numbers, speed, or flexibility. And as the camera sweeps over factories, airfields, and launch-ready decks, the audience feels the unstoppable momentum and scale of the production effort, understanding that this was not merely a race of numbers, but a national demonstration of ingenuity, coordination, and endurance, ultimately achieving 100,000 aircraft, doubling Göring's mocked prediction, and foreshadowing that subsequent points will reveal even deeper, shocking insights into training, logistics, deployment strategies, and battlefield impact, leaving viewers riveted, breathless, and fully immersed in the epic story of American industrial supremacy, endurance, and triumph. As the smoke of battle and the roar of engines fade into memory, the ultimate reality of America's wartime production emerges in breathtaking clarity. Because while Göring and the Luftwaffe had laughed at a goal of 50,000 planes, America's factories, fueled by innovation, industrial might, and unwavering determination, had doubled that number to 100,000. And the suspense crescendos as the camera sweeps over endless rows of aircraft lined up on sunlit runways, engines vibrating, wings gleaming, pilots signaling takeoff, and crews performing last checks, each plane representing not only steel and fuel, but strategic dominance, operational flexibility, and a psychological hammer that crushed any hope Germany had of air supremacy. And the narrative grips viewers further by showing the human and mechanical orchestration behind the miracle. Cranes moving massive fuselages, welding arcs tracing fiery patterns across the night, rivets hammered in hypnotic rhythm, engines tested and installed with precision, modular wings and fuselages joined seamlessly, and men and women working ceaselessly to keep the production machine humming. While across the Atlantic, German commanders, including Göring, watch reports with disbelief and growing fear, realizing that their mockery had underestimated not only America's industrial scale, but its ingenuity, coordination, and relentless drive. And the cinematic tension peaks as the narration emphasizes that these planes were more than machines. They were instruments of inevitability, allowing America to dictate the tempo of battle, project power across oceans, protect supply lines, and overwhelm enemy defenses with a force that Germany could neither match nor counter, creating a psychological and strategic advantage that reshaped the outcome of World War II. And as the camera pans over fleets of aircraft ready for deployment, the audience is left with awe, shock, and a visceral understanding of the unstoppable momentum and ingenuity behind the 100,000 plane achievement. A triumph that transformed mockery into disbelief, doubt into awe, and cemented America's dominance in the skies, leaving viewers breathless, riveted, and fully immersed in the epic story of industrial, human, and strategic supremacy that defined the Allied victory. And in this climactic final moment, the lesson is unmistakable. No force, no prediction, and no scorn can halt the combined might of innovation, determination, and sheer human will.